So I've installed an Ironman Apex bumper on the front of my third gen Tundra, and I wanted to give a couple points of feedback and what I like about it and my thoughts. I've also decided to go with Strands lights, and I'll talk about these as well. One of the things I definitely like about the Apex bumper is look at the size of that bar. So I haven't measured it recently, but I want to say it's probably about 2.5, 3 inches. And I really like the size of this because it definitely adds more of a beefier look to it. Now, as far as the width of it, it is not wider than my tires. It is just slightly wider than the truck sides, as you can see. But my tires definitely stick out a little bit more to the left and the right. The other thing I really like about it is I dig the design. It's almost like a Raptor bumper, sort of, with a mixture of a ARB, which makes sense because ARB and Ironman are both Australian. This is crash tested, so it will allow your vehicle's safety features to work like normal. Now, my experience with the parking sensors, they all work, as well as the Toyota Safety Sense. It was in here, it's down there, and it's been moved. The camera also gets moved to right there, and yeah, it's beautiful. Now, what I did do differently was I have Diode Dynamics, and I was going to take these fog lights and put them over there. I thought, oh, that'll probably work out okay. It does not work. Well, it's difficult because of the angle of this opening. And so I used extruded aluminum, and I made a simple bar that went across and mounted these here. So I fabricated kind of my own mount solution for that. When you are installing this, it is just like a lot of modern bumpers. It's a two-part system. You have a tray that holds the winch, and then the bumper goes on separately, which I really like because you're able to get the bumper on without it being excessively heavy. It is, I think it's altogether about 200 pounds or so. It's on their website. I went with the Strands lights. These are 7-inch Siberia. I think they're called Overlords or Dark Lords or something. They have both an option for an amber halo, or you can do white. And then they are tremendously bright. And these are 7-inch because it just doesn't fit when you have a 9-inch, just a little bit short. I have the light bar in the middle, which is a Diode Dynamic. And so I just decided to go with 2, and they're really bright. These are also the Siberia squares that I use for my ditch lights, and they're really bright. And they do amber or they do white, which I personally think is really cool. Here is again another view of it. Now, a couple things I don't like about the bumper. One is the directions. They're not very good. They have a video, but the video doesn't tell you exactly what bolt to use where. There are no written instructions. The template that I got was a little bit undersized. I tried to re-download from the website, and whatever reason the template was gone, so I had to kind of approximate it. But overall, I don't mind a little bit of gap because, everything does shake and move. The other thing about the bumper is that you have to do a little bit of finagling to get it level. You can put in 3 bolts on each side, and then there's pinning bolts on each side. And man, I obsessed over that a little bit too much. I guess you would do that with any bumper, but I was really worried about kind of what level is both this way and left and right. And with this bumper, even wrenching it down, it was hard to get it to stay still before, like, I drove it for a while without putting the pinning bolts in, where you kind of choose forever how it's going to be. And it still moved even with 6 bolts really tightened. Again, maybe that's normal, but for me, the other thing is I wish the hooks didn't hang down quite so far, but overall, I mean, those are kind of nitpicky things. I really enjoy how it turned out, that you've got hard gravel plates under here. I connected my felt liner to the rear of this, which worked out really nice. You can see nice air scoop in there to divert more air in for the radiator and cooling functions. plenty of access. Now I have the Badlands Apex winch, and it has a big head, and I had to relocate the head. I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. But because I had to relocate it, that was a pain in the butt. It definitely took some time. And that may not be true of every winch, but if you had a Warren or something, I just didn't want to take a big head that the Badlands winch had and move it somewhere in here. So I put it into a new box, made it a little bit smaller and still easy to access. As far as winch access, it is kind of difficult to get your hand through here, but very easy to do it from inside the bumper. Now, I took a project box. I took out all of the insides of the head for the Badlands, and I put it inside of this box. I ended up attaching it to here with a couple of L brackets, which I'll talk about more about these later, but it makes utilizing this box pretty easy. I did attach the bottom of it, it's hard to see, to the cowl of one of the turbo air scoops. Another thing I chose to do was I wanted to firm up this plastic piece, and so I added L brackets underneath to keep this section from shaking too much, right? And overall, I feel like the fit and finish of this bumper has been great. I definitely recommend it. And for the price point, it definitely comes well in under the new bumper for ARB. But that new bumper, at least when I went to go look at purchasing it, was about $2,500, and it just has the bottom of the bumper. It does not have any protection. And I'm in North Idaho, where there's deer and elk and bear and occasional crackheads, and you just gotta protect the front of your vehicle. So overall, I love this thing. I love how it looks. I feel like it came out really nicely. I've got my fogs angled just slightly out. I've got additional lighting on the side as well as additional driving lights. These two are tied in with a bar to the high beams, and then these are switched on the side using OEM switches in the dash. So overall, can't complain. And I've got my new motor thanks to Toyota, and very excited about starting to head out more as things warm up. Got a little muddy getting up here. So that overall is my review of the Apex bumper from Ironman 4x4 for the 3rd gen Tundra. At night, these look awesome. It kind of looks like Tron, sort of, to me.